Peace, family, Vie Darling, the cosmic queen and your intergalactic interpreter. And right now, I want to share a download I had about Pharrell Williams, and we're going to do a little bit of investigative work into this. So, as a lot of you know, Pharrell Williams, he is lauded as like a creative genius, one of the pioneers of hip-hop as we know it today, but he has been implicated in some pretty gnarly stuff. After October 7th of 2023, he performed at some 𝗖𝗵 funded organizations events. He performed the song Happy, but he's also on record talking about how much he did not like the song Happy, and I guess having an existential crisis about it. And what I picked up about Pharrell is that because of like his contracts, and yeah, they're saying that this does have to do with they're saying like because of his contracts, he has to do events like that. It doesn't mean that he actually supported like those causes, but he has to play along because he has contracts. You know what I mean? So what they're saying is like when you're in the industry, a certain type of person in the industry doesn't have the space to have the level of integrity that we may want to have. And they're saying that for someone at his level, you have to make a lot of acquiesces in terms of your integrity. That's what they're saying. I get the Queen of Pentacles, and this is from the 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 deck, and it's like she's in the water, and there are these marine entities, and there's an electric eel around her. She's asleep, so he's making, this is what dreams are made of, is what I'm hearing. But he's awake in the matrix, and we obviously know that. Four of Cups in reverse. But he didn't believe necessarily that things were as they are, and so he agreed to do certain things in order to get where he is today. But I'm also picking up Five of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, he was in a state of slavery, and he's been doing the best that he can with the contractual obligations he has to fulfill spiritually, but that's all coming to an end now because of him doing the best that he can. So when you enter into these things, we're in a Jubilee year now, so if he did something that was not very smart, not very good, if he pledged himself to certain types of entities, he may have continued being indebted to them, because it's like in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina when the human lawyer goes up against the Church of Night, and he made a deal with the devil, and he kept being offered to be the best lawyer ever, and he became that, but he was offered the worst of the worst cases of disgusting criminals, and finally he got a criminal out who had done unspeakable things to a number of women and girls, and then he did those unspeakable, when he got the guy off, the guy did those unspeakable things to his daughter, and that's when he stopped practicing law. He fought the devil, I fought the law, and the law won. That's what I'm hearing. So, that is the law, you know what I mean? Shaitan and these, archonic powers and, these malevolent beings and whatnot, they have rights to do what they do because it is within the confines of universal law. Except it has gotten out of control, actually. It has gotten out of control, and that's part of why it's a Jubilee year and all of this stuff is collapsing, because they've really brought things into a state of imbalance. But I say that all to say with the Five of Pentacles, Knight of Swords in reverse, Three of Cups in reverse. Yeah, he was stuck with this. But he knew that because he is actually like a sacred child of God, like he is descended from Archangel Gabriel, and he is like 𝗪𝗪 bloodline. He knew that if he kept on doing good things, even though he was also doing bad things, like it would even itself out and he would do more good things than bad things. And so that is the case for some of these like celebrities and like famous people who are in that world. And it's like, you know, if you don't even have to be a celebrity or famous to be in that world. Like, it's a lot of rich people, but it's also a lot of people that like are spiritually powerful, but they are living in poverty for whatever reason, and they still come from a lineage and a bloodline, and it's just part of the karma, and it's part of like, you know, the balance and order that exists. So they're able to like, they played their game and he played his game is what I'm picking up. Two of Pentacles in reverse, Knight of Cups in reverse, Ace of Cups in reverse. So I do feel like he's gonna lose. I'm hearing losing everything. Justice in reverse, Queen of Swords, Seven of Swords. At the bottom of the deck, King of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, I think that he's gonna just like end up retiring, so that he doesn't have to be in like this world anymore. If we still see him like making music, it's because he wants to, and it will hopefully be the kind of music he wants to make. But I do sense that he's gonna have like a big, he's gonna retire, because the same channels that he was going through to make money before are not accessible, and they're not going to be lucrative anymore. I want to know if he was like involved in any of the MK Ultra programming. No, because like, so he was friends with Kanye because like he saw the light in him, and you know, he knew that he like was like him, and that like he's an earth angel and he was a blessed child of God, but he didn't want to get in the way and take on more karma that wasn't his. Strength in the reverse, with Kanye, Five of Wands in the reverse, King of Pentacles, and Judgment at the bottom. So yeah, I actually think that that's really smart that he learned like to just mind his own business and kind of keep it on himself. Obviously, we know that there was some trouble with 𝗂𝗪, so I want to get some insight, a little bit of insight into that. Judgment comes out again. That was mainly just because of misogyny, and he saw it as like playing the game. Oh, he knows I'm in his energy now. Temperance, Nine of Cups, King of Wands in reverse, Nine of Cups, King of Wands in reverse. He has to pay his dues, and he's like, I've already paid my dues. He's not someone who is doing like sacrifices, but he was around that. I think that he wasn't doing like the same, he's not like doing satanic stuff, but he was around that, and it doesn't mean that he's like infallible. He still made human mistakes, but he's not somebody who's like sacrificing children and things like that. I do think that he participated in one or two rituals in his life, but then he was like, okay, this isn't for me. I'm not going to say anything, but like, because I don't want to fuck up what I have going on, but I'm not interested in this. Three of Wands, So, nobody's perfect is like one of the most important things to understand. I think he always like kept it so that he wasn't going too far over the line to where he couldn't come back, whereas a lot of people went like really far over the line. Someone like Snoop Dogg like went over the line, but like when he was young and he didn't know any better, and now he's still paying for it. Like he's still suffering because he didn't exercise temperance. He didn't practice temperance, but he was young and he was from the hood and like he didn't know any better. So that's what he did, and like he still, like, he made contracts and he made deals that he can't get out of, and he's gonna have to pay for that stuff. But I do feel like Pharrell, like, he, you know, he's paid, even if we don't know, he has. The stuff with Khalees, he did that, but like, that was fucked up. He did do that. He's not gonna like tell about it in public and be like, yeah, like, I'm fucked up. Although I actually think that he should, because like there's karma that he's gonna pay. Her bloodline is going to take revenge on his kids are gonna end up having to pay. So he's gonna be the one who needs to like make that right for what he did in terms of like being implicated in harming her. 10 of Cups, he's willing to do that. 10 of Cups, the Tower, 8 of Cups, Ace of Wands, and 10 of Swords, and 8 of Pentacles. I do feel like he's saying like he did do some like shady shit, but like everyone does shady shit in their life. And like he was younger and he was more foolish and he was like more hungry for the status that he has now. And so he did shit that was shady because that's what he was around. But it doesn't mean that he's an evil person, and I really do get the sense that he's really not, and he does want, he is a part of good things changing in this world. He has like made music to activate the star seeds and empower them, and he has even like worked with young artists to guide them away from doing like demonic stuff. So, you know, just because somebody's powerful and just because other people use the bloodline magics for evil doesn't mean that everyone does. The bloodline magic isn't evil unless they use it for evil. He's showing me a ring of power, and it's like, it reminds me of, is it the rings? Like, I'm thinking of Lion-O. What is that show called? Thundercats. I'm seeing oh my god, Thundercats. Yo, thank you, Pharrell. And I'm seeing like a ring. What was this show from like the 90s? Maybe the late 80s, but I feel like the 90s, where they had rings and they would like put their rings. Captain Planet. Wow. 80s shows were so much better. That's what he's saying. That's why Gen X is not fucked up the way that millennials are. And also like, he doesn't want to talk about Gen Z because he actually like feels like they have room to change and grow, and let's see what happens with them. But it is because of the media, and so he's tried to do differently, but he's a product of his environment and his times. So like, that's what I get for this reading. 13:13 on the clock, 13:14 on the clock, and we're just gonna wrap this up. But I'm actually picking up, I'm gonna add some more to this. What I'm actually picking up is that like he was a high-ranking Mason in a past life, and that like he was also a pharaoh in a past life. And I'm picking up something about like, the Nephilim, but the Nephilim, and I'm okay, so like Masonry comes from like, you know, who built the pyramids. And I saw a video the other day that said the Nephilim built the pyramids because they were giants, but that video got some information wrong, because they were like, they're the ones who like, something about like the fallen angels, and it was just like, what are you talking about? Like, everybody knows that like the Nephilim are children of the fallen angels, but they did stay in the earth, and the gods and heroes of like modern era and stuff like that, but we were always here. The Nephilim are not necessarily bad, like they are just the children. No, so Nephilim, okay, so the half human, half angel children are Nephilim, and if you copulate with, but not all of them are bad, that's the thing that I'm trying to say. So what are you like saying though? Because I picked up like those of us who are like purebred angels, which is like Nephilim who are half breed angels, and this is so that like Shaitan can come into them more easily, because if you're like not a fallen angel lineage, And these are from the Nephilim are from the fallen angel lineages. So if you're an earth angel and you were born into the Nephilim bloodlines, those are fallen angel bloodlines. That's what I'm picking up. Some of us have restored the bloodlines, is what he's saying, to their former glory. Some of us had less karma in this life because of that, because of work that we did in past lives. And he was a Mason in a past life, and that's why he like remembered Solomonic magic. I'm being shown like the seal, and like Enochian magic, and I'm being shown this like an angelic seal. Is this Archangel Michael's seal? I want to say that this is Archangel Michael's seal. I'm also seeing, and he's like telling me what lineage I'm from. I know that I'm from that lineage. Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's like, he's showing me like a black cat, like a black, like a jaguar, and 𝗪𝘃𝗃𝗃's line is from that line. And so, wow, yeah, he's really like spiritually powerful and like has a really like psychic abilities and stuff like that. He's been timeline jumping. He's talking about the book, the Emerald Tablets. He was Hermes Trismegistus in a past life. But a lot of us were, because he's high ranking. He's like a god, right? God tier consciousness. But then those of us, like if I were at fourth dimensional consciousness and I came down to 3-dimensional consciousness, then there would have to be more of me to contain that level of consciousness. Okay, so like if there was one of me at 4D, then maybe there would be 2 of me at 3D, and then there'd be like 3 of me at 2D, for example. So that's why multiple people have had the same past life, but whether or not we are the highest version, highest ranking of that being, incarnate, is what we need to think about. And so he was Hermes Trismegistus, and he was in the Library of Alexandria when it was burned down. He was in there, but he's saying like he made right the wrongs that he did. He made right the wrongs that he did. As he exercised wisdom in ways that, like, he is from a Solomonic line. He does use Solomonic magic. It's like he has tattoos, he's saying. I don't know if this is, like, I've never seen that, but he's saying he has tattoos that are, like, helpful for this. And that's why it's important to be mindful about what kind of tattoos you get, because, like, his body, like, being preserved for the time that it was, they need to return all of the mummies back to their sarcophagi, back to their tombs. And that's part of what awoke them to be like, why have we been disturbed? Like, we were sleeping, why did you disturb us? Oh, this is like what the Emerald Tablets is about. They're like, we were sleeping, why did you disturb us? And then they saw what was going on the earth when they had been asleep, and how their children had like fucked up. And so it's a lot of us who are awake right now, who are on earth, who like, we woke up because our sacred resting places were messed up. In our sacred resting places, we were like, traveling around, going to other timelines and stuff, like other dimensions and stuff, or just resting, some of us. The halls of 𝗪𝗍, like, it's like the Akashic records, but it's different. Or like the Akashic records, but different. What he's talking about is the halls of 𝗪𝗍, and I'm also picking up that he's definitely from Atlantis. He's from one of the Atlantean priest-king bloodlines, which makes sense if he's like an Egyptian pharaoh. I'm picking up also like Orion starseed, and I'm also picking up something about like Nibiru, but he is telling me that, which makes sense also given what I've just said about everything. He's telling me the halls of 𝗪𝗍 are like the Akashic records, but where that is like ethereal, the halls of 𝗪𝗍 are water. And yeah, people get like trapped there is what I'm picking up. And so that's like the marine kingdom is what he's telling me. And so like they were trying to, if you have to be really high ranking to be able to go to the halls of 𝗪𝗍. Like you can go much more easily to the Akashic records than you can go to the halls of 𝗪𝗍. Like, but basically he remembers all of this stuff and he remembers all of his history because it's in his DNA. And I'm picking up that like that's the two parts of the DNA, is like the water and the ether. So the ethereal, which some might think is like, yeah, I mean, it's like air and light, which is like fire. And then the water is the sacred, then it's water and light, which is also fire, which has to do with Scorpio and 𝗪𝗵𝗍𝗁, and that's more so the feminine, but those are the dual helixes of the DNA. And something is being picked up about like that's where the laws are kept, the records. So like warfare, spiritual warfare that was going on like in the unseen. But that's how he's able to like remember so much about himself, is because like he kept a record in Atlantis. And what I'm picking up is that like I'm 9999. I also see 555. I'm also picking up that like he encoded it in a crystal so that he could find it later, and that's why like crystals choose us. And that's part of like, yeah, that's part of why crystals choose us. And then that reminds me of like what I was saying about the emerald tablets, and that's crazy because like I literally just walked past a 𝗪𝗁, like the image of a 𝗪𝗁. And so yeah, that's the gist of what I'm picking up right now. I think that's everything that he wants to communicate. And yeah, I hope that any of this was like helpful and or at least entertaining.